In this class we want to talk about leadership styles. There are certain qualities an individual must have in order to be an effective leader or manager. For example, they must have good communication skills. They must be able to deal with people above and below their position and deal with them effectively. Clear, precise, and accurate communications. They must also have the ability to motivate individuals in his or her group. Motivation is very important in order to increase productivity or maintain productivity, and it's the function of the leader to maintain the motivation within the workforce. The leader can also perform when under pressure. A leader must be able to take pressure. When things go wrong, the leader must be capable of dealing with the situation. And must also be able to foresee the goals and ambitions of the organization and the individuals working within the organization, and indeed must have clear understanding of his or her own goals and ambitions. And they must have a desire to achieve and meet these various requirements. In particular, his or her own requirement from the job, from working. The leader must also utilize his or her authority effectively. By that, it means that they must be able to focus on where leadership is required and deal with that situation. They must not spread themselves over the whole department or over the whole production line or whatever it is, and be a weak leader all across that production system or that particular area of responsibility. They must be able to focus in on the task at hand, whatever the task is. If it's an issue, something has gone wrong or something needs attention, the leader must be there to ensure that it is fixed, it is going properly, and that the people involved are motivated to achieve a good result, to ensure continuity. And finally, a good leader must be knowledgeable and must be capable of good decision making. Must be knowledgeable to inspire the other workers, and also must be knowledgeable about the product, and in general must have awareness of people and have some understanding of the psychology of people so as to lead them effectively. Effective leaders are successful in their role due to their personality and training. So leadership is a mixture of, I suppose, what we could call nature and nurture. It's a mixture of what is innate, what is inside the person, plus their own experiences and their training. So effective leaders are, in a sense, born and trained. At least that's what many people believe. They have a personality type that suits what they're doing. However, all leaders are different and adopt different leadership styles to suit their organization and the members they work with. So leaders are adaptable. They must be able to change according to the situation and the requirements that confronts them. So they must be able to modify their approach in line with what is required. And it's important that the correct leadership style is deployed. If it is not correct, then it may upset the balance within the organization. It may cause friction. It may cause problems with the workers. It may cause problems between departments. So leadership also has an element of politics. They must be able to work out what is required and what is not required of them, and the timing of their intervention. Now, leaders versus managers. Well, a leader is an individual who has the ability to inspire people to follow him or her. So they have the ability, the charisma or whatever it is, for people to follow them. They set the vision, the direction, and they inspire and motivate. That's what leaders do. They set the vision for the rest, they explain it to the rest of the workers, the rest of their colleagues. They explain the vision, they set out the direction in which they want to travel and what they want to achieve, and they inspire and motivate the people to follow that vision. A manager controls and directs people to get a job done. A manager's role is to plan, coordinate, organize, control, monitor a team or subordinates. So the manager comes in, if you like, after the vision has been determined by the leader. The manager is the person who gets the job done. It's not the person who sets the direction. It's the person who implements what is required to achieve the vision. So if we look at two sets of characteristics here, leader and manager, set them side by side, we see that the leader innovates, whereas the manager administers. Big difference. The leader innovates, it comes up with new ideas and sets the vision. The manager administrates and makes sure that the vision is implemented and can be done. Secondly, the leader develops new ideas and visions, whereas the manager maintains and controls ideas, I should say. So the manager looks after the ideas when the ideas have been set in place. Once the plans have been determined by the leader, the manager implements the plans. The leader has more people focus and concern, whereas the manager is also concerned about controlling the people, controlling them in a way to get the job done. And number 4, leaders are individuals with their own views and ideas. A manager, a copy, because there are many managers. So they copy what the leader wants, and they seem to copy each other as well in terms of their practice. So the manager simply works with the ideas. The manager doesn't come up with the ideas. And if the manager does come up with the ideas, they will bring it back to the leader to get an opinion and to see if the idea can be integrated into the whole system. Number 5, the leader does the right thing, whereas the manager does things right. 6, leaders see the bigger picture. Managers, on the other hand, see a more narrow and focused picture. They focus in on the task. What is the job to be done right now? How to do it? How to get it fixed or done or delivered? So they're looking at an individual task, whereas the leader is looking at a much bigger picture, big idea. And finally, the leader originates, whereas the manager imitates. They imitate what is required, and they imitate perhaps the same task over and over and over. So those are some of the fundamental differences between leaders and managers. Now, leadership style. Well, Kurt Lewin's framework suggests there are 3 types of leaders: autocratic, democratic, and laissez-faire. And I'll explain what I mean by these as we go through. So for a start, the autocratic leader. Well, an autocratic leader is a more traditional approach to leadership, still widely used in organizations. Managers and leaders make all decisions within a team, and they don't feel it necessary to include team members. So the decisions are made by perhaps the leader or by a small group associated with the leader, and no one else is consulted. Once the decision is made, it's handed down, and everyone else is expected to work with that idea and to deliver that idea. Of course, the leaders take responsibility for their decisions, and the leaders have all authority and control within the group, so they are quite autocratic. They can tell people what they want, and they will expect that to be delivered. Now, the advantages of an autocratic leader, well, it reduces stress for leaders as they know they are in control of the team. They don't have to negotiate. They don't have to worry about other opinions within the team. They simply come up with the ideas and almost force the team to implement the ideas. They produce the ideas and the rest of the team produce. Team members are more likely to get the job done if they're being monitored. It prevents slacking. So it does require supervision. It does require resources. It does require managers and foremen and so on to ensure that the job is being done and delivered. There is faster decision making when only one person makes the decision. Well, there's no consultation, so there's no meetings, and there's no time spent on making the decision. One person comes up with the idea and it's implemented. So it doesn't take time to have it reviewed, debated, checked. No meetings. So it provides a smooth flow of operations. It's probably the most efficient way, but it doesn't mean the decisions are good. Perhaps if there was more consultation, the decisions would be better. So it is likely to have more issues, more problems. Let's look at the disadvantages of an autocratic leader. Well, it's not beneficial for long-term group development, that's for sure. One person almost dictating to the rest of the group it's not conducive towards good group development. So the group doesn't develop. Increases the workload stress for managers and leaders. Well, the managers certainly have the stress because they need to meet the requirements of the leader, and the leader is autocratic. They're just passing down what they want without consultation. Then it does create stress. But it's also stress for the leaders, because the leader, him or herself, must have doubts about some of their decisions, must have qualms about whether the decision was good or not. It becomes demotivating for team members to follow orders. No room for career development opportunities. So the team members are almost passive. They have to sit back and do what is expected of them. So there's no career development. There's no opportunity to innovate or to bring forward ideas. It's autocratic. It comes from the top down. Adopting this leadership style assumes that leader has poor leadership and communication skills. If we think about that, we're dealing here with leadership, and if it's an autocratic leader, then it's not really leading, it's directing, it's telling, it's ordering. It's not really leadership. And the communication skills don't have to be very refined. They simply tell what is required, to tell the managers what is required. So it doesn't foster leadership or communication skills. It simply makes a decision and hands it down, and that's it done. Now let's move on to the democratic leader. Democratic leaders are more involved in team activities. The leader puts trust in the team. So the team is more involved. The leader takes decisions after consulting all members of the group. So the decisions have been run past everyone. They've been checked and perhaps discussed, and there might be meetings, and maybe small groups have met and have come up with ideas and fed it back in. So the decision making, it's more democratic. The democratic leader can effectively delegate tasks and give team members complete control and responsibility. So carrying democracy the whole way, the leader may delegate large portions of decision making to the team if there is trust between the team and the leader. They encourage other members to become leaders and provide them with full training. Good leaders want to have other leaders so that they can debate issues and refine issues and discuss issues. So perhaps particularly interested members of the group who are bright and keen may be cultivated, may be brought along as possible future leaders. But in the interim period, whilst they're going through this process, they become more involved in the decision making and are consulted more so that better decisions may result. Now, the advantages of a democratic leader, well, there'll be a positive and motivated team because people feel involved. All members in the team feel that they are valued and trusted to undertake activities. It's democratic, so all the members of the team are valued and their opinions are valued. Even though their opinions may be wrong sometimes, it doesn't matter, they're still valued. Better decision making as decisions are carefully considered. Well, since most people are consulted within the team, or all people are consulted within the team, it means the decisions will be refined before they're implemented, which could save on wastes. Could be a smooth flow of logistics and operations because all the people involved will be consulted and they will have their say, and out of this a better plan may be devised. It also encourages creative thinking. Members of the team feel involved and they may become quite creative in their suggestions, which may ultimately lead to more productivity or reduced costs. Develops a good working relationship and effective communications with leader and team members. Well, there's a good working relationship because they're all members of the same team. The leader is just the person who brings the team together, consults the team, acts almost like a chairman of a committee and organizes the team, and so there's a good working relationship. People in the team feel that they can speak to the leader almost at any time. And because of all of this, it increases employee retention. Employees stay with the company because they like it. They like being consulted and being a part of the process. Now let's look at the disadvantages of a democratic leader. Well, miss opportunities because decision making takes more time. So sometimes if the decision making takes a lot of time, there is what economists call an opportunity cost. The people who are making the decision could have been doing something else, perhaps something more productive. And perhaps meetings themselves were not that productive. Problems may occur in activities if team members are not experienced enough, do not have the required skills. Sometimes team members need to be trained to be team members. They need to recognize they are a part of a team and they need to be open and honest and forthright with their ideas and look at the issues, not waste time, it's not a joke, it's not there for the fun of it. It's trying to get a job done most efficiently, and the team members should buy into that concept. The leader's not fulfilling his or her role of a leader if he or she is too involved in group discussions. That too should have an extra O at the end, sorry. The leader shouldn't get too involved in the group discussions. The group should really have meetings and ideas almost before they meet the leader and bring those ideas together. So it's not such a wide-ranging discussion as to take up a lot of time. It should be quite focused. Now, the laissez-faire leaders. Well, this type of leader gives full control to team members. Laissez-faire means leave it alone. Just the leader almost abdicates his or her responsibility. They just give full control to the team members. Hand it over to the team makes the decision. So the leader steps out of it. Team members are left independent to complete task, role and responsibilities on time. So the team members adopt the whole situation and deal with the whole situation. The leader sort of stands back. There's no guidance from the leader. It could leave the team members confused and demotivated. If the leader doesn't give guidance, then the team members could become confused and demotivated. They don't know what they're doing, and they need some guidance. So laissez-faire leaders may not be good. The advantages of a laissez-faire leader, well, they're only effective if team members are skilled, experienced and trained to successfully complete the task. If the team members have the skills and have the experiences, then it may be possible to be a laissez-faire leader. Just hand over responsibility to the team and stand back. If the team don't have the skills and experiences, they may become frustrated, annoyed. There's a lack of vision, there's a lack of coherence in the team. It could be a bit of a disaster, really. Employees are motivated as they are in charge and have a responsibility to complete the task. Certainly the employees are motivated. They may be motivated out of fear of losing their job if they get it wrong. But they may also be motivated because they feel that they are being trusted within the organization and they feel a part of the organization. The disadvantages of the laissez-faire leader, well, no reward, praise, feedback provided by the leader. The team just simply get on with it. There is an issue, there's a problem, the leader explains what the problem is and then says, okay, go fix it. So at the end of it, there's no praise or feedback provided by the leader. It's the team fixes it and that's it, job carries on. And the team members may feel demotivated if they don't have the guidance, if they don't have the involvement. Start to think, well, what is the leader doing? They're just handing it over to us. We've got to make the decisions. We've got to do the job and make the decisions. If the leader, if they're not keeping track of performance, there's the possibility of members slacking. So if the leaders are not keeping a track of performance, the individual members may get on with the job, or some of them might think, oh, we'll do it tomorrow. So some of them may not participate, or may not participate fully. They may not apply themselves fully to the task. And finally, of course, this type of leadership may suggest that the leader is unaware of his or her responsibilities. In fact, it may suggest that the leader is not a leader at all. The leader has no idea what's going on, and that's why they behave as a laissez-faire leader. They are abdicating their responsibility. They are leaving their post, in a sense. They're asking the team to make the decisions and implement the decisions because they themselves don't understand the issue or the task. That is a possible explanation. Choosing the right leadership style. Well, these factors depend on the manager, the background of the manager, the personality type, experience, value, qualifications, the ethics, the culture. Very wide issues. And the same almost applies to the members of the team. And for the organization, it depends on the values and the ethics of the organization, as well as the goals and objectives of the organization. So really these three factors are so wide, it's almost impossible to get a handle on what style of leadership is most appropriate. It just means these factors are important, and as to how they can help in the selection of a manager, well, that's almost impossible to say. The conclusion, well, all leaders are different and have different personalities. I think that's fairly obvious. Leadership styles must adapt to complement an organization and its members. The leadership style should fit with the organizational goals and its work culture, and also it must accommodate the workers, their abilities, their skills, their motivations, and so on. And it must deal with all of these issues. And successful leadership styles must motivate the employees to perform to the best of their ability and provide opportunities for a career progression. So leadership styles must, if they don't motivate, productivity will fall off. People will become disengaged from work. People will not apply themselves effectively to the tasks, which will increase costs and ultimately put pressure on the organization and the organization's survival. So it is important that the leaders motivate the workers. Now that concludes all I want to say about leadership styles, so let's leave it at that, and thank you for watching.